Hobbs Shaw is the ninth installment in the Fast and the Furious movie franchise. It is actually the first spin-off in the series, and it centers around the characters of Luke Hobbs and Decker Shaw, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Jason Statham. Now, I can tell you one thing, I was really looking forward to this film. There were a lot of trailers prior to it throughout the year, and it's something that I was really looking forward. My wife and I were very excited for it. It looked very fun. So in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to share with you what I think about this film, the good and the bad. So stay tuned. The good. The best part of this film is the relationship, the interactions between Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Jason Statham. It's just amazing. I think they steal the show when they're interacting with each other. There's a lot of comedy. There's a lot of disses between each other within the film and the story, and it just plays so. It is fun just to watch them just go at it, you know, going after each other, and I think that's the biggest selling point of the film. And it was in the trailers, but of course it's expanded in the film, and it feels good. I definitely enjoyed this. This brings me to this point. This film is an action comedy, and it knows it. And it plays with it. And it's not trying to be anything else or anything different. It's not pretentious. It knows what it is and what it's trying to sell, and it does it. It does it. It sells it to you like that. The comedy is good, you know, it's funny, raunchy at times, you know, unrealistic action scenes, all of that, but it's giving it to you. You have fun with this film. It is really a lot of set pieces in this film that you just have fun with them because they're so unrealistic, and you know what? It is fun just to see the unrealism in it because it is playing with it and it's having fun with it. And definitely I like that part. I think that in that case, this film plays better than the previous Fast and the Furious films. The last few, pretty much for quite a while, many of the Fast and the Furious films have been trying to become something totally different than when they started. You know, you remember the first one was just about some kids racing cars and doing some crazy stunts. But now it has become into more like going into like worldwide, into more like the spy type of game, and it just feels like out of its element in many ways. This film is in its element. It knows what it is. Another great aspect of this film is the cast. You have Vanessa Kirby, Idris Elba, Helen Mirren, Isa Gonzalez. They all play their part, and they play those parts well. Vanessa Kirby, I did not know much about her prior to Mission Impossible Fallout. But even though she was, in just a little scenes here and there, I found her to be, a good actress and very tough. She's beautiful, of course. But here in this film, she really gets time to shine. She really shows strength. Sometimes in movies, they try to, give women make it more strong characters. But when you watch them on film, it seems like they're trying too hard, or the film is unrealistic about their strength. But I feel that she's natural on screen about it. You know, when she's fighting, when she's doing her thing, she really looks strong, and definitely I like her there. Now, Idris Elba, I'll be honest with you, I have never been, I would say, super crazy about him as an actor. A lot of people love him. He's a good-looking guy, but I wouldn't say that I've always been crazy about his acting chops. But I would say that in this film, I really like him. He did a phenomenal job as the villain. You know, I was really surprised. You know, movie's over the top. You know, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Jason Statham, they're over the top, actors, and their characters are over the top. And you need the same level of energy, of testosterone, to really fight him on screen. And I feel that he does that, and he does it really well. I really like him as a character. Definitely, he does a fantastic job. He's a mean-looking guy, he is tough, and he sells it, and he sells it well. A highlight for me in this film is its core message in the end, or at least the message that goes alongside pretty much the main plot of the film. And this is something that is actually very peculiar for the Fast and the Furious series. That even though through all the craziness of the franchise, it always goes back to one single thing, which is family. And who is part of the family. So this film, it has a family message in the end. It does have a little bit, it's a bit cheesy because the family messages that all these movies have, they're always cheesy. And it's no exception. This movie is no exception to that. But I like it because he maintains the same understands what the franchise is all about, and he plays with that. The bad. Now it's time to talk about the bad. I think the biggest problem with this film is the fact of the pacing. This film, of course, because it's an action comedy, there's a lot of comedy in between, but also there's a lot of action moments, a lot of set pieces. However, it feels that it's overextended. The film is 2 hours and 15 minutes, but it feels that it's a bit too long for what it is, because there are actually two main big action pieces at the end. And it feels like it wasn't necessary. You only needed one, but they decided to go with two. And the stakes never feel higher with this film. It is just entertainment. It's just a popcorn flick. And it's just the fun of it. It's just a ride. It's like going into a ride, going to, I don't know, to Disney World and getting on one of those big rides. And you know that it's going to be fun. You know it's going to be a thrill, but don't necessarily know that it's going to be something that it might get scary at all. You know, it just doesn't get scary because you know it's just the thrill of the moment. And that's what the film is all about. And I feel that in that situation, the pacing kind of suffers because of it as well. And it feels too long. And there's so many different set pieces. So it's not really, I would say, the film as very jointed together, those parts. It feels that they are kind of separate from each other and not necessarily in the best way possible. Another thing that I would say I dislike about the film, well, not necessarily dislike, but I find it as a flaw that ultimately some people will see it more than others, is the fact that the comedy in this film is so heavy to the point that it kind of loses. Instead of being an action comedy, technically it's a comedy action. It is more on that end. You know, things are a bit too crazy within the film to the point that everything becomes hilarious. Even the action scenes are hilarious. You never feel that there is a sense of threat going on. There's danger happening. Not even the villain can give that sense, because you know and you can see the effects and you can see pretty much what's going to happen a mile ahead. So there's never a fear that something is going to change. Some movies, particularly spy movies, they give you that sense that they are at the end of the rope and they might not make it. Of course, you know they're gonna make it, but it's that sense of danger that really some movies give you, that is definitely the part where we are looking for. But this film never gives that. It's just fun moments, joke after joke, comedy after comedy. You're even going to laugh and really loud about some of the action scenes because they're too over the top and too unbelievable. It is something that it happens particularly with the Fast and the Furious series. But you get it here. And of course, for some people that's okay, but for other people it's just going to be a real disappointment. Now, a disappointment for me, and I would say it is for me, and perhaps for a lot of families, and it's more like a warning for people. Not necessarily, I would say, a big disappointment, but it is a disappointment, and also it's necessary for parents. If you're a parent and you're concerned about what your children watch, the type of message they get, or the type of entertainment they're part of, this might be something that you need to pay attention to. There are a couple of moments in the film that the language is a bit too strong. There is a couple of times that you can hear the F word. Not only that, some of the jokes are very vulgar, and necessarily they're kind of funny. I'm not gonna deny it. They're funny if you're an adult, but not necessarily are good for kids. So be careful. I always tell this to all the parents, is that be mindful of the rating. If the movie says it's a PG-13, it is for a reason. It is not for small children. It's for teenagers. And even though I found it a little out of place, because the film goes and tries to play the family card on one side, but at the same time it's kind of playing it on both sides. It's like it's not necessarily PG-13. It is PG-13, but it's kind of going in both ways, trying to be family oriented. There are kids in the film, but also it's a little too mature for it. So that's the only thing, is it doesn't know what it wants, and it feels that some things were cut out of the film, what tells me that perhaps it's going to be an unrated version at some point, which is kind of lame in my opinion, because it should be what you get, what they present, what they create should be presented regardless of the rating. If it's created with that intent, it shouldn't be PG-13 or G. So I feel that that's a disappointment for me, and I would say it will be for many parents. In conclusion, I can tell you one thing: I really had a lot of fun with this film. I had fun. I was really hoping for this for quite some time. You know, every trailer, every announcement, I was excited. This was my most anticipated film of this year. Besides Avengers, you know, Endgame. This was the most anticipated for the summer. And I can tell you one thing, it delivered. It delivered what it promised. You know, it's nothing different. Yes, there's craziness here. Yeah, there's a lot of unrealistic events. And, you know, you might be disappointed. The story is shallow. You know, the characters are over the top. The comedy's over the top. The action scenes are over the top. It's craziness on top of craziness. But that's what we love about it. And yes, it has a lot of defects, and one of them is the timing, the pacing, the way things are connected. But regardless of that, it is a fun ride. It is a ride, you know, that gives you some thrills and you're happy with it. I had a lot of fun. I laughed a lot. I got out of it very satisfied with it. I'm probably going to watch it again because I watched it by myself. I'll probably take my wife because she wanted to watch it, but she wasn't feeling good. So I definitely feel that it's a movie that I will have fun, and I think you will have fun. Yes, it has some, I would say, some elements are not necessarily for children, for small kids, so you got to be careful as a parent. But beyond that, if you're an adult, more mature, you have more mature kids, definitely is going to be a very, very fun film for the summer. So if I have to give this film a final score, I would say it's an 8 out of 10, which is, it's very good. So what do you think? Do you like the film? Have you watched the film? Are you planning to watch it? What do you think about it? You know, if you watch it, what is your opinion in regards to it? Do you agree with me or not? If you're planning to watch it, what is the reason you want to watch it? Let me know in the comments below. So once again, thanks for watching. God bless, and I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.